Hey, everybody, good morning and welcome back. Thanks for joining us after being off last week. We're back with another live episode of 80s Wrestling, the podcast. And today we're talking about the old VHS tapes, Coliseum home video, basically the WWF network before the WWF network. Instead of clicking on what you wanted to watch, you had to convince your parents to drive you to the video store. You had to stare at 15 VHS boxes. You had to pick one, you took it home, you watched it over and over again before you had to return it Sunday so you didn't get that late fee. Always be kind, always rewind. Today we're going back through the history, the memories, the covers, the matches, the tapes that made Coliseum home video such a huge part of being a WWF fan in the 80s and the 90s. We're going to break it all down. We're going to talk about what tapes you could collect at the Wrestling Collector, New Jersey. All that and more in this live episode of 80s Wrestling, the podcast. My name, Jumpin' Jay, and as always, I'm joined by the Confather, the collector of Coliseum, none other than Mr. Tommy Fierro. Tommy, good morning, brother. What is going on today?
Good morning. Good morning, Jumpin' Jay. Good morning, everybody. Sorry that I screwed up last week's episode. I thought I'd be able to go live down there, but just like last time, I got dragged into a meeting. So going forward in the next summer, I'll make sure that I get a substitute or we just don't do the show. So I do apologize. I love looking forward to every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern time to talk an hour of wrestling with my main man Jumpin' Jay and you guys. What was Howard Stern's what was it called, the Whack Pack?
The Whack Pack.
We got our own Whack Pack, right? So I enjoy talking wrestling with our Whack Pack, the 80s wrestling Whack Pack. And today's a fun one. Jumpin' Jay actually texted me this morning and said, "Hey, what do you want to talk about today?" And right away I said Coliseum video, only because it was on my mind. Because if you go to the Wrestling Collector Facebook page tonight, so Thursday night, we're going to be posting a ton of Coliseum videos. We're doing a claim sale. So you see the video, the price will be underneath it. And if you want it, you just type claim under the picture and then we'll contact you via Facebook Messenger and get your payment info and your shipping address and send it out to you. But yeah, man, we're gonna post at least, I would say minimum at least 50 Coliseum videos tonight on our Wrestling Collector page, and a lot of them, a lot of them are going to be the clamshell case ones, which are much harder to get. They're worth more money. They're my favorites. So a bunch of them are going up on our auction page tonight too, Jumpin' Jay. So when you're home tonight and you're relaxing on your couch and you want to jump on our Facebook page and get a couple Wrestling Collector Coliseum videos, feel free to do so.
Give me a breakdown. Like, how much does a typical Coliseum home video go for nowadays? Because especially the clam case is highly collectible. People love them just for display. If you have a VCR, go ahead and watch them. But like, what's the price of a Coliseum home video in 2026?
It's a good question. And what you just said, a real quick funny story before I get into that. So a couple months back, I had a husband and wife come into the shop, and he was going crazy with all the Coliseum videos, and he got a ton of them, at least a dozen of them. And when he was paying, the wife was like rolling her eyes. They were younger. They were not super young, but they were probably like around our age, a little bit older. So I
That's
guess it was
very
from his.
young.
Yes, that's very young. So it was from his child and all this stuff, right? So like she's rolling her eyes. She's like, I don't understand. We don't even own a VCR. And he's like, I don't want to watch them. Like, so they do listen. They do look super cool displayed on the shelf. Super, super cool. And yeah, man, it brings you back to your childhood. Now, the clam shape, the clamshell case ones, they vary in price. Some of them can go up to $100. Some are, some are lower, $20. Some are in the middle, 50, $60, $70, $80. It depends on which one it is. Some are more rare than other ones. But yeah, they if you take a look on eBay, You get an idea of what they go for. The other ones, they run from, I don't know, depending on the condition of the box. That's another thing, the condition too. So
Hmm.
collectors, if you're just displaying this stuff, if you don't have a VCR displaying them, you at least want them to look like they're super nice looking from the outside, right? So it depends on, and there's a lot of, we have a lot of cases in the wrestling collector that are in, you know, not that great of shape. So those ones, typically, 10, $12. These are the non clamshell case ones. But if you get a nice, beautiful cover, 15, $20, depending on, again, that varies too, depending on which one, because like, best of WWF volume 19 is not in a clamshell, it's in a regular cassette tape, right? Package. So like that would be more. So I guess it would be a case by case basis, but that's typically the price range. Now, also, there's some like really scarce collectors out there where, listen to me, I really do sound like a wrestling collector today, don't I?
Yeah, I love this.
I actually sound like I know what I'm talking about. Now there's that's probably a small group of collectors out there that just they just collect the sealed ones. So ones that have
Oh,
never been opened before. Now, those, man, they go for a lot of money. And I would say that the regular Coliseum videos, the non clamshell case ones, if they're sealed, again, it's a case. It's all case by case basis, a title by title basis. But they can range anywhere from 30 to 60, $70, depending on which tape it is. And forget about it, if you get the Coliseum video clamshell case ones sealed, you're in the hundreds.
man.
Yes.
And doing research for today's show, I tried to find out a number, like how many Coliseum home video cassettes were released. I can't find the data anywhere. So I promise you, there's cassettes that we don't even know exist. And so if you're a fan, tune into the Facebook page tonight, man, because you might see something that you haven't seen before.
Yes, and so I'm gonna probably post them. I don't know, probably around 7 Eastern time. So if you're listening to this live, 7 Eastern time. If you're listening to it afterwards, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Around that time, could be a little before, could be a little after. But again, I gotta go through all my Coliseum videos today, and we got a couple hundred of them in the store. So I got to go through them and see which ones are in good enough shape to put up on the auction. So it's not even an auction; it's a claim sale. It makes it super easy. If you see something you like, you see the price, you just type claim under it, and then I'll reach out to you on Facebook afterwards. But yeah, that's why this topic was on my mind today, because I'm working on doing this for tonight. And it also, man, like it brings you back to your childhood, right? Like, so I saw, and I'm sure you remember too, Jay. Like when I was a little kid, there was on probably like 3 blocks from my house, there was, on the corner store, it was a video store. And I would go there and I would collect I would not collect, I would go there and I'd rent the Coliseum videos and go back to my house and watch them. And I think I might have mentioned this in a past episode a long time ago. Like when I was a kid watching the opening of the Coliseum video, remember the opening video? Like, and then we got to the part where a bloody Andre was body slamming Kamala in the steel cage. Like I would get nervous when I was a kid watching that part. Like I got scared. So that's like a Coliseum video memory I have. But yeah, man, going to the stores and renting them and watching them, and even in later years going to Blockbuster, and getting them and the WCW ones and watching them. It's a big part of our childhood, a big part. So it's to be a fun topic today.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. People are already talking in the comments. There, we got the slam line stacked and packed. We want to talk about it, but before we jump in, there are people in the comments. Tommy, you just had your Legends of Wrestling in Wildwood. You told a story a couple weeks ago on the show about getting a Monster Energy drink. There's a guy that likes your Hawaiian shirts. People are asking for an update. I saw something on
Oh.
social media. I think I know what they're hinting at, but I'd let you tell the story.
Yeah. So anyone that's tuning in for the first that missed the last one, just to make it a long story short, I was wearing a Hawaiian shirt and drove past a convenience store that I typically don't go into, but I went in there and got a Monster Energy drink. I usually have a Energy drink every morning. I'm not a coffee guy, so that's my coffee. So I was wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and the guy was like going on and on about how great my Hawaiian shirt was, and we started talking about Hawaii. I've been to Hawaii before, so he was asking me about Hawaii. Like it was like a 5 or 10 minute conversation. It was a nice guy, so nice enough that the next day I'm driving past, and I'm like, I'm gonna stop there getting another drink, right? And this time I have on a different Hawaiian shirt. Now it wasn't by choice. I just had on a different Hawaiian shirt, but I made it like it was to him. I went in. I said. Hey, good morning. Since you loved my Hawaiian shirt so much yesterday, I dig through my closet and got another one for you, and there was no response. And I thought it was very odd, but I went and got my drink out of the refrigerator, and I came back at the cash register, and I handed the man the drink, and gave him my money, and there was no thank you, not nice to see you again, not nice shirt, not fuck you, nothing. So I left the store and I'm like, this is fucking really weird, man. Like this guy like spent 10 minutes talking to me yesterday. We hit it off great. I don't understand. So like I had to go back a third day. I had to go back because I had to see what was gonna happen. And guess what I did? I wore another Hawaiian shirt, a third one. So I walk in, and sure enough, as soon as I walk in, the guy goes, "Man, I love that shirt." He's like, he goes, did I not get the memo? He goes, "This is like the third Hawaiian shirt today." Now, dude, I swear to God, I'm not making this up. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. He's wearing a Hawaiian t-shirt. It says Hawaii on his t-shirt. Somebody said, "I guess I didn't get the memo." I go, "You sure?" And I pointed to his shirt. But he was friendly again, and it was really really weird. So that was the last time I went there, and then that was a couple weeks ago. And then I stopped in the other day again. I wasn't wearing a Hawaiian shirt this time. I had a Rowdy Piper t-shirt, a Hot Rod t-shirt. So I walk in, get my monster drink, and he goes, "Oh man," he goes, I love Rowdy Ronnie, not Roddy. I love Rowdy Ronnie." I go, "Oh, you're a wrestling fan?" He goes, "Oh yeah, back in the days." I listen. I cannot make this story up. What I'm about to say, this is the like. This should be a sitcom. So he says, "Yeah, I loved wrestling back in the day. When I was younger, I watched it." He goes, I just I just met Sergeant Slaughter last week." I says, "Oh yeah, where at?" He goes, "Me and my family were on vacation in Wildwood, and we went to the wrestling matches at the convention center." Bro, I waited till I left the store to start laughing, but I didn't tell him that it was my show. I said, "Oh, that's awesome." Now when I go back again, probably go back soon, I'm going to invite him and his family to one of my shows up here, just so all my guys and everybody can see who these people are, because they're legendary in my story, and they don't even know it. But what, you couldn't make this shit up, man. You couldn't
You
make it
didn't
up.
you didn't tell him that you were the Confather and that was your show?
No, no, no. I just asked them. I just asked them. Someone, I forgot who it was. Someone texted me or told me what I should have said when he said, "Oh yeah, I met Sergeant Slaughter." I should have no sold him like he no sold me the second day. I'm like, "Who's that?" You know?
Right, right. So do you think he had a bad day the one time he didn't comment? Do you think it was not really like was it not him? Was it somebody you thought was him?
No,
Or
dude. It
is the
was
same
listen.
guy?
Unless he has a twin brother, which people have said that this might be a Hepner situation. Maybe the twin brother was in there that day
Yeah,
because
you got the
we can't understand why there was no communication whatsoever. The man wouldn't speak to me. But I have to go back again. I think I'm going to invite him and his family to one of our shows.
I think that would be awesome. I think you got to tell him, come to one of my shows, wear a Hawaiian shirt. Yeah, maybe it's
Hey,
an evil twin situation.
hey, listen. He said he was a big '80s wrestling fan. Maybe I'll tell him I do '80s wrestling the
Maybe,
podcast and get him on air.
maybe he's listening.
Hey, if this is you, this is me.
If this is you, this is me. That's a great way to put it. We're talking all about Coliseum home videos. Hey, before we jump into the slam line, I'm going to put you on the spot here. And I don't expect you to know the answer because I didn't know the answer. Do you know? And if people are listening, if you want to put it in the chat, don't Google it. But if you legitimately know this piece of trivia, let me know. Do you know what VHS stands for?
No, I
mean,
don't.
I've been saying VHS my whole life. I never really stopped to think, what do these three
Yeah,
letters
no,
stand for?
I without Googling it, I do not know that answer.
Yeah, don't Google it. If anybody's listening, if you know, throw it into the chat. We'll see if anybody gets it, but then we'll talk about it a little bit. But we're talking about VHS tapes, but what the heck does VHS stand for? We'll talk about all that and more. We want to know, what tapes do you remember watching? Which ones do you want to collect? Which ones are you going to be watching on Tommy's Facebook tonight to see if you can own a piece of the history? We're going to jump into the slam line. Up first on the Wrestling Collector Slam line, class is in session. It's time for Professor Matt. Matt, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen. So,
What's up, man?
oh, another day in paradise, Tommy. So, Coliseum video gives me that warm, fuzzy feeling in the pit of my stomach, right? It's nostalgia personified. And the memories of going into the video store and spending hours just looking at these Coliseum home videos. Now, I was always a renter, not a buyer as a kid. That they were, always somewhere around 50, 60, $70. And in today's money, that's like $150. So, buying them was never an option. But I rented all of them, and over and over and over. Now, I would go and blow right past the curtained off section in the video store. And we all know what the curtained off section at the video store is. But little 10-year-old, 9, 10, 11, wee Maddie goes into the video store and he says, I don't need that curtained off section. I'm headed right for the wrestling section, and let's see if they've got any new Coliseum home videos. That may have changed over time, but we'll just leave that in history. So it was always great to look at the videos, and there was some disappointment at times, right? There would be disappointment. Now, Jay, you asked, does anyone know what VHS stands for?
Yes, sir.
And the competing format, which was Betamax, was also somewhat prevalent at the time. And there'd always be disappointment if the tape I wanted was only available in Betamax and not VHS, because we were a VHS household.
Yeah, as were we.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you even remember Beta or Betamax, but that was the two competing formats, much like HD, DVD, and Blu-ray, and then Blu-ray won out. It was VHS and Betamax, and VHS won out. And a lot of people don't even remember Betamax. But my local video store always had a nice supply of both VHS and Betamax, because both were really in use in the early to mid '80s and whatnot. So,
real quick, I'm going to ask the Confather, is there a difference in collectability at the collector between Betamax and VHS? Is one more sought after than the other?
I think Betamax, I think that was more of like an overseas thing. Am I right?
Well, so they were competing formats here in the U.S. and
because what's Silver Vision? That was, is that another form? Because that was overseas, right?
Yeah, that's UK distribution. That's the distribution for the same tapes, but local distribution in UK.
Gotcha. Okay, so I guess it's kind of like Coke and Pepsi back then, right?
Yeah, Betamax, actually, if your memory serves, they had a superior quality at the time. I'd have to look up the specifications, but like anything, it's not necessarily about quality on why you went out. And there's an urban legend or a story about VHS ended up winning out because a certain industry, the same industry that has their tapes, curtained off at the video store, adopted VHS. And industry moves with quantity of content. And when that industry chose VHS as their platform, it sort of put the nail in the coffin of Betamax, and away they went. However, Jay, I know a little bit about the value of Betamax, because years ago I wanted to buy a Coliseum video WrestleMania 3, which I now own and have for many years, and it's the VHS. But I would find Betamax versions on eBay, and they like good quality ones were much more expensive than the VHS ones, because there aren't as many of them. right? VHS won the format war. And so the amount that were produced in Betamax was a lot smaller. Therefore, it's more rare and more valuable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's your that's my TED talk today for the content wars of VHS versus Betamax, I guess. So the Coliseum videos were a way to see wrestlers and matches that you couldn't otherwise see, right? On Saturday morning shows, Superstars and Challenge and whatnot, primetime. So it was great content at the time. It was a great way to consume things you couldn't otherwise see. The pay-per-views, of course. The WrestleManias were constant rotation for me for renting. I've worn out more WrestleMania 3 tapes as a kid than any other one, no doubt about it. But in terms of other events, the Hulkamania Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3 were always popular with me. Hulkamania 3 specifically had the Hulk and Andre feud, and there was a lot of segments of Craig DeGeorge interviewing Hulk Hogan on a boat, talking about the Andre feud and all the things, the buildup and all of that. I thought was quite interesting. Things like WrestleFest '88 let you see Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant in a big blue cage match, which was just, you didn't see that. You had no way to view these type of matches unless you rented these tapes. It also had Demolition versus the Bulldogs for the straps, and then you get into the Supertape series, Volume 1, and blah, blah, and Supertape Volume 1 specifically had Hogan and Beefcake versus Macho Man and Zeus in a cage, right? And around the No Holds Bar era, and it's like, you've got to buy or rent these tapes to see this content. There was just no other way to consume it. And then even later on, Supertape 92 was the only way you could see the pay-per-view this Tuesday in Texas, right? So these tapes were super important to fans, right? And to be able to rent them or buy them was tremendous. The best of the WWF Volume 1 through dozens of volumes, those weren't really my favorite. It just sort of seemed like house shows slapped together, which had some interesting matches, no doubt about it. But trying to think back in the day, I wouldn't go for those first. I preferred ones like the specific tapes of talent. So there was one called Macho Man and Elizabeth, one called the Hart Foundation, one called the British Bulldogs. Those I found interesting because you'd get kind of engrossed into one piece of talent, and you'd get all these matches and interviews that you wouldn't otherwise see. I've since built a collection of Coliseum videos. I've got about a dozen of them, most of the ones I mentioned here, but purely for nostalgia display. It gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling. It takes you back to a simpler time of walking in the rental store and perusing and reading the bag and trying to figure out which one you want to rent. And it's just nostalgia and that warm, fuzzy feeling.
It is. I don't know if there's anything that gives you the feels more than looking at, like, let me put up if you can see Facebook or the YouTube page, I'm gonna put up a Blockbuster shelf there, and just seeing the great cover art on old school VHSs makes you want to grab it off the shelf, turn it over, look at the matches on the back, take it home and pop it in to the old VCR. All the feels.
Yeah, and the beauty of renting these back in the day was, it seemed like every store rented videos. The grocery store rented videos, the drugstore rented videos, the video store obviously rented videos. But I have specific memories of wanting a specific tape and going from store to store to see who had it available for rent. And it's just a simpler time. It's the warm fuzzies, and I love the clamshell Coliseum videos, and that's a memory that I think we all share and we all can keep forever. And that's why I've sort of put together a little collection, not overboard, but a little collection to just kind of pick it up, hold it in your hand, and you're transported back to a simpler time. Gentlemen, thank you very much for having me on. Can't wait to listen to the rest of the callers. Have a great rest of your day.
Sounds good, Matt. Thank you for tuning in. Class has been dismissed. Before we jump into the next caller here, I typed in to ChatGPT, show me a picture of Rowdy Ronnie from your gas station visit, and this is what
it wasn't a gas station visit.
Where do you buy your Monster Energy drinks?
It's called in New Jersey. It's called a convenience store.
Well, we have those too, but they don't sell gas in New Jersey at the convenience store.
Not at this one, but they do on many other ones.
But you can't pump it yourself in New Jersey. Is that right?
No, this is true. This is the only
Uh,
state, I believe. One of the is it? Are we the only state or no?
yeah, I think you're the only state where you're not allowed to pump your own gas.
We're treated like royalty here in New Jersey.
The white glove treatment. But anyway, on this screen is a picture of rugged Ronnie Piper. I think
There he
Jack put
is.
rugged Ronnie
It's awesome.
Garvin and Piper together. But that's what Rowdy Ronnie would look like.
Good story though, right? You
That's
can't.
the best.
That's
It's the
perfect
best.
booking. Perfect booking.
It's the best. I absolutely love that. All right, we're going to keep the conversation rolling. We're talking all about those VHS tapes. Shout out to Toto Tom in the comments. He said VHS stands for Video Home System. It does. Video Home System.
Nice.
VHS. I don't know if he Googled that or if he knew that, but he got it right in the
He
comments.
probably knew it.
He probably did know it. All right, up next on the Wrestling Collector Slamline, it's time to fly out to the always Chico's, the always sunny Chico, California. Babyface Brian, your device just told me it's not connected, so I don't know if you got to hit your little microphone button or if there you are. All right, we're going to bring you on stage now. It's time for Babyface Brian. Brian, good morning, brother.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Fantastic. How are you doing?
Doing great. Wonderful topic. I got to take you back in time real quick though and read the scroll from those tapes that Tommy talked about a little bit earlier. It began over 5,000 years ago when civilization was young.
Oh yeah.
Every major culture, Egypt, Greece, Rome, India, Japan, studied it, practiced it, perfected it to a fine art. They admired its Olympian demands: strength, speed, agility, skill, grace, and courage. They did it to honor their gods. They did it to honor their kings. They did it to train their soldiers. They did it to compete, and they did it for fun. It has come down through the ages to us today. It is. And then we get to see all these amazing things. We get to see Superfly. We get to see Nikolai with a backbreaker, Chief J Strongbow, Tito Santana with a flying forearm, the U.S. Express waving their flags, Morocco and Orton doing a double slam, Ken Patera with that awesome swinging neck breaker that he did in the full Nelson, that swinging full Nelson, Uncle Elmer against Big John Studd, Hulk slamming Greg Valentine off the top rope, a sunset flip from SD Jones, Mike Rotundo with an airplane spin, that amazing scene through the cage of Andre slamming Kamala. That always got me too, Tommy. And then
Nice.
Morocco with a pinfall, Orndorff with a pinfall, and then it finishes with Hulk pinning Iron Sheik and Sheik's legs just shaking as he gets that world title. And then you're just like, holy shit, strap me in. What am I about to watch? And you get to watch the this amazing Coliseum video. So
Hey,
yeah,
man.
I love that.
You just reading that and then you going over the graphic what was on the screen. Like I can go back as a child. I don't remember much of my childhood, but I can visualize every moment of that video that you just described. That was perfect.
Oh man, I just love it. And that music, like you say, it starts off with just that little backbeat of the drums.
Yeah.
And then and then it just crescendos.
The best.
And it's just like, what am I in for? And the toughest part is a lot of times we would, first off, I was fairly small town. There was, 10,000 in the city limits, 50,000 surrounding area, but there had to have been 8 or 10 places that rented VHS. Like Matt said, you could get it at the grocery store, the drugstore. We even had a miniature golf place, Puttorama, that rented VHS tapes. My first job that I got 10 days after I turned 16 in 1990, summer of 90, was at a store that sold, it was a Radio Shack franchise. So we sold other brands of car stereo stuff. We sold Radio Shack products. So I got to, put the recording for little old ladies on their answering machines when I started into the sales part of the business. But the first part I started in the first year, I was in the video rental section. So I was going up to the drop box and carrying a stack of like 20 VHS tapes to the back that had been returned. And I was setting up, reservations for the moms like my mom that would always try and reserve the movie the first night it would come out on a Tuesday. So, I mean, VHS was such a big deal. And most of the movies, when we would buy them to rent them, they would cost $66. And then you'd have to rent them many times for $2.50 to $2.50 before you started making your money back. So, I mean, it was was a kind of a rough business, but that's the thing. It was so huge, you'd end up renting them and making your money back. And only like the Disney movies that would be on a special purchase for $30 or whatever, those might cost $20 for the store. But most of them, like these Coliseum videos, like I say, they were like $66 to buy them. So yeah, you couldn't just buy them cheap. You'd have to go and rent them at the video store. But again, in this little small town I grew up in, uh, we started off at this place called Video Headquarters. It was just basically a house that was converted into a video store. And I remember going in there and seeing that poster of Mr. T and Hulk Hogan from WrestleMania wearing gear they didn't even wear at the event, that illustrated poster that I loved. But, I probably went to 5 or 6 video stores before we found one that had all these Coliseum videos of the best of WWF. And that was just like mind blowing to be able to go there. And then the tough part is, a lot of times we would go Friday, maybe close to 5 o'clock at night, and we'd rent a couple movies and we'd rent a VHS, a Coliseum video for me. But we had to eat dinner and then we had to watch the movie with the family. So that VHS Coliseum video would be sitting there waiting for me. And then, of course, you had, Superstars Saturday morning. So it might not be until noon on Saturday, especially if you had like soccer that morning also. It might not be till noon that Saturday that you actually got to watch the video that you had picked out. So it was just such a magical time, and it was almost like Christmas morning, just being able to get one of these Coliseum videos and find out what amazing stuff you're going to be able to see on that particular videotape. So yeah, I absolutely loved it. The one that stands out most to me, I forget if it was Volume 3 of Best of WWF or Volume 8. I think it was Volume 3. But they had a Fijian strap match between Jimmy Snuka and Roddy Piper. And Roddy Piper had already been babyface for a few months when I rented this, but it was from I think it was from like July 24th, 1984. And you're sitting there watching the only Fijian strap match I've ever seen anywhere. But at the end of it, Jimmy Snuka actually pins Roddy Piper clean, and I hadn't seen that anywhere. It was such a rare thing. So it was just kind of mind blowing to see Roddy lose by pinfall to Jimmy Snuka on this VHS Best of WWF tape. So I mean, just great memories. Yeah, I mean, the first time that my family even got into VHS, we were on a vacation in Oregon, and we like rented a VCR, and we were like watching clips and rewinding them, and then when we got home, we ended up buying a VCR, and the first movie that we rented was The Toy with Richard Pryor, and so yeah, just all these memories of VHS kind of flood into your mind when you're thinking about these things, and love seeing the topic up today, and having a go-to video store where you could go and see, like I say, they all had different stuff. So finding one that had all these tapes, it was just such a thrill and such a thing. Well, can we go to this video store and get a wrestling tape this weekend? And yeah, just wonderful memories for sure.
I love the fact that you had to sit through the family movie first, and you're just dying to pop in the wrestling VHS.
Totally. Yeah. And it's just different times. Plus, I mean, back then you never imagined that VCRs would become obsolete, and then it would be hard to track one down 30, 40 years later. And that these like the boss I had at my first job, as an investment, he would buy like 20 copies of every Disney movie that came out on VHS. And so he just had stacks and stacks and stacks of these Disney animated films, because they would only release them for a limited time, and he thought that someday they'd be worth a fortune and put his kids through college or something. And you never dreamed that these things would be more of a decoration on a shelf instead of be something where you could just watch them until you're 80 years old or whatever. So I love that Tommy still has them at the store. I'm sure those are going to be selling like hotcakes tonight. And I admire people that have space and can show these things off. That's super cool.
Yeah, I think I'm going to tune in and look at it, because I have a couple in, a closet from my childhood, but the art on it, like the photos on it, are so cool that some would definitely make a great display piece to go next to, a big rubber guy or an LJN or something to kind of make a display piece. And so I think they're awesome that they're still out there.
Yeah, totally. And Tommy had a pretty huge collection when I was in the Wrestling Collector 3 years ago. I'm sure he's grown it by now. So
It's
super,
pretty
super
big.
cool. Awesome, man. Hey, you guys have a great rest of the show and a great weekend. And take care, my friends.
Hey, you too, Brian. Thank you so much. You know, everyone's talking about the nostalgia of walking to the movie rental place, looking at the shelves, picking out your movie, your wrestling tape, maybe a piece of candy or two, and heading home to watch it. And I know nothing will ever replace that feeling for us, but I do want to mention there is a website called bingebrowse.net. And what you do is you go to that website, you select what streaming services you have. If you have Netflix, you click Netflix. If you have Amazon Prime, Disney, whatever, you add them all in. You don't have to sign into them at all to do this, but you just click the ones you have. And then what it does is it takes all the movies that are on those streaming services and it organizes it in a virtual video store. And so then you use your mouse or your phone and you walk around this virtual store to find the movie that you want to watch on Netflix. You can take it off the shelf, flip it over, read the back. And if you want to watch it, you click watch and it'll take you to your Netflix account. If you want to put it back on the shelf, you put it back on the shelf. But it's a virtual video store, Tommy. I don't know who made it, but I stumbled upon it last week.
That's awesome.
And it kind of gives you the old nostalgic feels, but bingebrowse.net if you want to put your streaming services in an old school video store. Kind of cool.
Also, if you want to see some of if you don't have a VCR anymore, you want to see some of these old Coliseum videos. I know WWE Vault on YouTube. They post a bunch of them. I usually play them at the store when during the day. So you go to WWE Vault on YouTube. You can probably see some of them. And again, if you do have a VCR, you just like me, just collecting them and looking at them displayed. We're going to be having a big Coliseum video claim sale tonight on the Wrestling Collector Facebook page. I know a lot of you guys follow us on there already, so jump on there tonight. There'll be a price underneath each videotape, and if you want it, just type claim underneath it. I will contact you and get your PayPal or Zelle. I'll give you my PayPal or Zelle information and get your address, and I'll ship it right out to you. So yes, if you're around tonight, check it out. It's gonna be fun.
All right, up next on the Wrestling Collector Slam line, it's time for the world's most dangerous caller. It's time for Jason. Jason, good morning, brother.
Good morning, guys.
How are you doing today, sir?
Okay, how are you guys doing today?
Good morning.
Fantastic, man. We're loving talking about old VHS tapes. You've been around. You've had some tapes in your life, brother. What are your memories of Coliseum video?
I still have some of them out in my garage, the clamshell ones and the ones with then the regular box. I still have some of those.
All right, talk to me, man. What kind? Do you remember the covers or the names of these clamshell tapes?
I will tell you I'll tell you guys a quick story. Me and my mom and dad was at a flea market. It's probably been, well, it had to be late 89, maybe early 90s. And this guy had a box you put your tapes in. And my mom asked him how much it was, and he said $1. $1 or $2. Well, she opens it up. There's WrestleMania 1, there's WrestleMania 2, WrestleMania 3, and WrestleMania 4. She says, "You realize you got all those tapes in there?" And he goes, "Yeah, $2."
Whoa. And so you brought that home.
Oh, yeah, she bought that. She snatched that right up. I mean, store tapes in, and and I remember them taking me to Toys R Us one day and say, "Yeah, I can pick out any tape I wanted." Of course, I'm a Hulk Hogan fan in those days, and I wanted that first Hulkamania, and I believe it was like $60.
Back then, it was $60.
I want to say it's about $60 they paid for that tape.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, well, a lot of money.
They were a lot back then. Even if you look in some of the old WWF magazines when they would advertise the Coliseum video clamshells when they first came out, I believe they're like $59.99. They were expensive.
Yeah, the original retail price for the official Hulkamania VHS tape by Coliseum Video was $59.95, $60 back in the 80s.
If I remember correctly, that's what they paid for at Toys R Us that day.
Let me do a little research here. I mean, good for your parents for spending. I don't know if my mom and dad would have spent $60 on a VHS tape for me back in the 80s from Toys R Us, but I'm glad one of us got it.
Well, I remember they used to. I remember when we'd watch the NWA shows on Saturday, they advertised tapes on there. We bought several. They weren't $60; they were like $35 a piece in the clamshell. And I have some. I think I still have some of them out there in my garage. Remember the WWF toy box?
Yes.
That they made like in the early '90s, I believe. That's what all them tapes are in out there.
All right, hang on. This can't be. I found a website that's the inflation calculator. So I want to see, like, what's $60 worth? Like, what would that be today? Because I know, like, Hasbro action figures used to sell for like $6 in the toy store when I was a kid. But now if I go to buy my kid an action figure, it's at least $20. Like, it's insane. I typed in $60 from 1985. It says in today's money, it'd be $186. That can't be right.
It could be.
Has inflation gone up that much that $60 from 1985 is the same as $186 today? That's insane.
That could very well be the case.
That's unbelievable. All right, but anyway, you got some great tapes as a kid. You got this cool box. You still have them in the garage. Do you display them? Do you look at them, or are they just stored away for safekeeping?
Stored out there in the garage because I don't have I got to have a VCR, and I don't have one, so they're just stored out here in that garage for right now.
Yeah, Matt from Boston's commenting gas was under $1 back in 1985, and now it's over $4 here. I don't know what it is where you guys live.
Yeah, it's like 3 something up here because the governor suspended the gas tax.
And in New Jersey, it's probably more than that because the guy with the white gloves got to come pump it for you.
Yeah, I remember. Of course, I had them WrestleMania tapes. I remember having the Andre the Giant VHS tape.
Matt's pointing out too that tapes go bad over time, which is true. So he's saying, Jason, you might want to look at your tapes in the garage. Temperature and stuff can ruin them. But I think tapes, even the more you watch them, like starts to ruin them. And so, yeah, I don't think there's a good
tape can break.
Yeah,
they break. That can break. I remember taking I taped like a basketball game, and my teacher wanted me to bring it in so we could watch it. And he puts it in, and it broke. The tape broke. So I remember him taking it apart and taking a piece of masking tape, taping around it, and bringing the tape back around. You know, you could pull on those things on the back side of it.
Yep. Man. It's crazy. Like we were talking, like at the time, that was the height of technology, and we thought that stuff would be around forever. And now, yeah, they could break, they go bad, temperature affects them. I don't know if DVDs are any better. I got a bunch of old DVDs too sitting around in a closet. I don't know if those last forever either.
No, I have all my VHS and Blu-rays that I have. I have them in the house. They're all on a rack. I got like 3 rows of wrestling DVDs and Blu-rays.
Matt's saying, Matt's the IT savage. He knows everything about technology. He's saying DVDs can suffer from something called disc rot. And so I guess that not even our DVDs are safe.
I guess not.
Man.
I think I also had that Rowdy Piper's Greatest Hits VHS tape. It was as well.
Did you ever get a copy of the Rowdy Ronnie one?
No, I didn't get that one. Couldn't find that one. That was hard to find. I can't find that nowhere. Couldn't find that anywhere. I want that though.
Yeah, that's a rare one right there. That's a rare one.
I got the Rowdy Piper DVD, and when I met him, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago, he signed that for me.
Hey, that's a great point, Jason. Tommy, you hold all these conventions. Do people bring Coliseum home tapes to get autographed?
You see them from time to time, yeah.
I wonder if that's not something a guy should start doing. I mean, do you ever have them sign any at the Wrestling Collector when you have a wrestler visit?
When I've had Bret Hart, and I'm at the Sturm, I'm at ISPW, and in 80s kind of had him sign the Coliseum videos. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, he was on one of them. He signed it. But yeah, I mean, listen, if it's in great shape, no matter if it's a VHS or a old WWF magazine or a figure that's in like an LJN or a Hasbro that's in great shape. Man, that old stuff signed, it definitely increases the value of it for sure.
Yeah, I can't I'm looking at a picture of like the Supertape 92 with Bret Hart on the cover Tuesday in Texas. If
Yeah,
you
so
had
I
Bret
had
Hart,
that one right there signed by Bret Hart. So it's
that's
pretty
awesome.
cool.
That's a collectible right there.
Too bad there wasn't a Boris Zukov one. We could have got that signed for you last time.
Dude, if you put a Boris Zukov signed VHS on the Claim It tonight, I'd be fighting everybody for it. And it's just the rules are the first one to type Claim It gets it.
Yes.
So you got to be fast on that keyboard. Jason, any VHSs that you're looking to add to your collection, you can claim it tonight from Tommy's store.
Nah, like I said, I don't have a VCR no more, so I'm not looking to get anything, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think VCRs are probably becoming rare too.
Yeah, I had a VCR, and unfortunately, when my house caught on fire about over 10 years ago, the VCR got ruined, and that's the end of that.
That's the end of that. But the tapes were safe in the garage.
No, actually, they were in the house. If I remember right, that toy box was in the house with them VHSs in it. I can't remember offhand.
All right. Well, we appreciate you calling in and sharing your story, man. Go out to your garage today. Look at what tapes you have. You could be sitting on a gold mine.
I could be, and I'll send Tommy some pictures.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
He'll buy them off you, or you could donate them. He takes donations too, I bet.
I sure do.
All right, Tommy. Coliseum home video conversation has been a fun one so far. A nice walk down memory lane. Not a lot of nostalgia hits when you start talking about these tapes.
Absolutely. And anyone that listens to this podcast that has those old Coliseum videos, especially the clamshell case ones, and they're just collecting dust in your storage unit or your attic or basement. And although they're cool, you don't really do anything with them. I will buy them from you. So you can reach out to the Wrestling Collector Facebook or Instagram page. Send us a message on there. It'll probably take me like 8 months to get back to you because I actually suck at getting back to social
Busy
media
guy.
messages. Oh yeah, but I got to learn how to do better, man. Like I've lost opportunities in the past where like organizations like they wouldn't call or email, like they would send me a social media post, not social media post, a social media message about wanting to do an event or a birthday party, and I get to it too late. So I got to do better, and I'm trying my best to do better of my social media messages. But yes, send me one if you have any of those old Coliseum videos. And I would definitely be interested in buying from you. Also, old WWF magazines from like 1984 to 1992, that period right there. I buy them as well if they're in real good shape. And obviously, if you have loose LJNs or Hasbro's or carded of both, and again, you love having them, but they're just sitting in your basement and you really have nothing to do with them or where to display them. The Wrestling Collector does buy merchandise as well. So reach out to us on social media and I'll definitely get back to you.
Yeah, that's because a lot of us have wrestling stuff, and if you're looking to part with it, Tommy will give you a fair price. It's easier than going to eBay and trying to sell it yourself. Give the Confather a call. I was just looking up the history of Coliseum Home Video. I guess I was always under the assumption, Tommy, that WWF owned Coliseum Home Video, but according to the internet, they didn't. It was not WWF's internal video department. It was a company called Evart Enterprises. They had an agreement with the WWF to distribute its home video programming. So then I asked, did Coliseum Video make videos for anybody other than the World Wrestling Federation? And it said yes, but barely. WWF was its biggest client, and when they stopped making videos, Coliseum went out of business. But it also made a video for Wayne Gretzky called Hockey My Way. It made a video for the New York Giants, and then the World Bodybuilding Federation, which of course was Vince McMahon's anyway. But it sounds like WWF was basically the business for Coliseum Home Video, but they made a few others as well.
Yeah, and I'll give you a quick little facts tidbit. So, Coliseum Video, I don't know where, but their PO box was in Fairfield, New Jersey, which is literally the next town over from where I live at. So it was based out of New Jersey, and not only New Jersey, but like literally right by my house. And I heard, if you're on the Google machine right now, you can look it up. I heard rumors in the past. I don't know if it's true that Hillbilly Jim had some kind of ownership or something involved with Coliseum Video. Can you look that up? Because I'm not in front of my computer. Would you be able to look that up real quick, Jumpin' Jay, and see if Hillbilly Jim
Ah,
had anything to do with Coliseum Video? Because I heard a rumor, and it was definitely from someone that was in the business, not a fan, that he had something to do with Coliseum Video.
here's what the Google machine tells us. When Hillbilly Jim stopped wrestling full time around 1990, he got a job working for Coliseum Home Video. He started as a sales rep, worked his way up to become the director of sales for North America.
There you go. That's that.
Corporate Hillbilly Jim.
Now, did you know that until I just said that, or no?
I would have never guessed
Yeah.
that
So
Hillbilly
yeah,
Jim
he didn't
was
own
an
it, but he was
executive.
like, yeah, he was like high up in the company there. Yeah. So that's something that probably a lot of people didn't know.
Listen, now
But
I
yeah,
gotta ask. Yeah, now I gotta ask Google. Give me some interesting unknown facts about Coliseum because I did not know that one.
yes. Well, yeah, I'd like to know some of the facts also.
Let me
What do you
type
got
in
there?
here. Let's see what it comes back with. It'll probably come back with some falsehoods that we'll have to fact check. But all right, the first one, Coliseum wasn't owned by WF. We already talked about that. They
See,
released tapes
I
on bait. What's that?
I knew that. I knew that one.
You knew that one. They released tapes on Betamax too. Professor Matt shared that with us. The famous Best of series had 20 volumes,
Yep, I knew that.
which is a good, like, if you're doing a trivia, I guess that's a very good question.
It is.
Yeah, some weren't widely released. I could have guessed that. See, they don't know the actual number. It says there was 96 compilation tapes, 67 pay-per-view releases. There are gaps in the numbering, so no one knows exactly how many tapes were released.
That might be some homework for us to do for next week's episode.
You might have to call Hillbilly Jim, and you got to say, Jim.
Hey, listen, I've been calling Hillbilly Jim for years. I'm trying to get him to be part of 80s Wrestling Con. He will not come up this way. It probably take some big time cash to
Maybe
get him
he's
up
got
there.
maybe he's got hard feelings about Coliseum Video. Doesn't want to come back up to the Northeast there.
Well, no, he was in New York, I believe, last year or earlier this year. But yeah, maybe it's too close to Fairfield, New Jersey. Can you ask Google? Can you ask
Yeah.
Google if they were located in Fairfield, New Jersey? Because the
Yeah,
PO
I'll
box
ask him.
the PO box back then was Fairfield, New Jersey for Coliseum Video.
It was based in New York City. The actual address of the office was 430 West 54th Street, New York, New York.
Maybe the warehouse was in Fairfield. Can you say what
Yeah.
does Fairfield, New Jersey have to do with Coliseum Video? Maybe
We
they're
will ask it.
this is good trivia right here.
This is awesome podcasting. Googling on the spot. Right. It says the end of the Coliseum tapes where Lord Alfred Hayes would say he would give the address and it would be P.O. Box 1311 Fairfield, New Jersey.
Yes.
It
So
wasn't
maybe
it wasn't the corporate headquarters. It was where you would send your information to get information back. I don't know why.
so there
Why would that not be the headquarters?
I would guess that the headquarters or their office, wherever they had, was in New York now. Fairfield, New Jersey, there's a lot of warehouses. A lot of warehouses in Fairfield, New Jersey. So I am thinking that that's where their warehouse was.
So if you went to 1311, no, that's the P.O. box. So we don't really know what you couldn't really go find the building and like take a photo of. This was the Coliseum Video warehouse, although that would be cool.
Yes. So yeah, a lot of interesting trivia. Now, another thing that was cool is that they would Coliseum Video would put out some merchandise too, like little things to like promote. Like the later things would have. I remember like the super tapes and stuff. They would have like a keychain inside of it. There's been we have some of these in the store, bookmarks, Coliseum
Yep.
Video bookmarks. So and Jay, I have I'm gonna send you that out in the mail. I have some Coliseum Video bookmarks. I'm gonna send you a little care package.
Dude, I would love a Coliseum home
Hey,
videos.
I'm gonna
Bookmark.
send you a Coliseum video today. How about that?
Don't tease me, brother. Don't say it and then
It,
don't
it will
send
go.
it.
Listen, it will go out in today's mail. I'm gonna get the little Coliseum video for you and ship it out to you today.
Dude, that would be awesome. And then when I get it, the next podcast we do after that, I will reveal to the listening audience what Coliseum home video I received from the Wrestling Collector.
Yes, awesome, man.
I
Yeah,
look
so
forward
yeah,
to
it was a
that.
fun episode. What do you want to talk about next week?
Oh, sky's the limit, brother. I have no idea. We'll have to if you're listening now, if you want to throw ideas in the chat, go for it. Otherwise, we'll have to come up with something and then let the listeners know. If you like and follow the YouTube channel, you'll get a notification as soon as we post it. And as soon as we know, we'll throw it up there. So you'll know before everybody else.
Awesome. So yeah, we'll talk that over and come up with a cool topic. And yeah, I got this weekend off from wrestling. Thank God. I mean, the store will be open both days, but there's no events, so I'm
You've
happy
been
about
running
that.
hot lately, brother. You have been going,
Oh,
going,
dude.
going.
Listen, we don't only do. Here's the thing, man. Like to make like, if you don't work for WWE, you don't work for AEW or one of these big companies that are paying you a decent salary. It is next to impossible to make a living in this business, right? So like that's why I do so many events from the 80s con to the store to running independent shows, several times a month. Like, dude, you got to scratch and claw and grind to make ends meet. Not working for WWE or AEW in this business, and it takes a lot out of you, man. It really, really does, and I kind of like you gotta have a really, really, really thick backbone to be in this business. So yeah, it's a lot of work. Uh, you know, my dream was to be in wrestling, right? So like I really can't complain about it. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying it's definitely a grind, man. It's definitely a grind.
Well, we appreciate that you do it. And before we sign off for the day, we got to pay a visit to the firehouse. Firefighter Brian, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning.
Fantastic, brother. We almost missed you. I almost didn't see your name down at the bottom of the queue, but I spotted it.
Yeah, I was wondering if you missed me. That's all right. There's always next week. Hey, so listen, I'm gonna make this quick since it's practically 11 and I have to head out of here. What I wa- This has been a tremendous war. Well, first, let me just make a suggestion quick. You've asked for suggestions. I don't know
Who
about you
who we
guys.
kicking out of the Hall of Fame next week?
So how about this? Who we kicking out of the community, and you know who I'm voting for.
No. Come on,
You
man.
but anywho, oh listen, I'll probably win. They'll probably all kick me out. But anywho, this season's Dark Side of the Ring has been so sensational. And they did a subject on somebody who was so big in the 80s that I think would be a lot of fun to do a show on. And we haven't really, yes, we did a glow show. We did a Sherry Martel show a few years ago. Missy Hyatt, I think, would be a lot of fun. I suggested a Women of 80s Wrestling a few years ago. We were going to do it. Then something happened. Somebody died, and there was a big thing or whatever, and we never got around to it. We could do that. We could do that later down the road. But I think Missy Hyatt would be a fun one.
Hey, let me
And
tell you something.
yes,
Let me jump in real quick. So yes,
sure.
I love that topic, and we're gonna do that next week, Jumpin' Jay, if that's cool with you. I can't promise anything, but I'm pretty cool with Missy from back in the day. She did some of my signings when I was younger, and she was just at one of my conventions a year or so back. I'm gonna reach out to her and invite her to be on the episode. I don't know if she has plans or she's gonna say yes, but I'm just letting you guys know. I will reach out to her to see if we can get her on here next week.
fantastic. That would make it that would be even better. So that's I've always been a huge fan, and I would love to have her on and ask you how did you like the episode? Do you think it was fair or whatever? So yeah, that'd be pretty cool, Tommy. So that's great. So I'll just say a quick listen. This has been a tremendous walk down memory lane, and it's brought back a lot of memories, not particularly with wrestling, but particularly with a big part of our childhood and a big part of life in the 80s, and that's independent video stores. And, Netflix did the Blockbuster, what Blockbuster did to all the independent video video stores. And I remember whenever there was a new video store opening in town, we would belong to it. We belonged to like three or four of them because everybody had a different catalog. And if one place didn't have, the new movie or whatever, you go to another one, and then the other one, then the other one. And I remember it used to take months for the films to go from the theaters or from the pay-per-views to the video store. Now, what? 3 weeks later, if that, it's on TV. So I mean, it's just crazy how much the format has changed. And I'll just say, Matt talked about the curtain place. I got to, and I hope to Christ he doesn't haunt me for telling this story. He should laugh at it the way I'm sure I do, and that we all would. So every now and then I'd be riding in the car with my dad, and he would pull over by this place called Sunrise Video. He said, "I'll be right out." I said, where are you going? What are you doing?" "I'll be right out." He goes in the trunk, takes out a plastic bag. The idiot didn't think to use a different bag instead of the Sunrise Video bag. He goes and would go into the store, and I watched him. He'd go into Sunrise Video and return it. A son of a bitch would rent the curtained off videos and hide them in the trunk of his car. So I guess my mother wouldn't find them. That it just this is that's what I love about this show and about this stuff. This brings back memories that and whenever he would pull up and said, "But my birthday party, we had a birthday party, right? We had 100 things to do, right? We were going to pick up the food or the cake or whatever." He had to stop at Sunrise Video to drop off of an X-rated movie.
Now,
Oh, God.
how did you
Yeah.
know that was the tape that was in the bag? It could have been anything.
Jay, bec- because I caught him one night. So, but anywho, caught him watching. Now he turned it
No,
off
no
right before
further
I got in the room.
questions. No
Yes.
further questions, Your
Yeah, I
Honor.
was about to say, let's end it. But he's probably gonna haunt
Not
me.
about question.
No more questions is right. I've never been more happy. I've never been more happy to see Tommy Sheik in my life.
Yeah.
But I'll just say quick, and then I have to head out of here. I'll just say make this wrestling related. What the ones that I liked were yeah, I actually liked the best ofs because like Tommy.
I think we lost your firefighter.
It's all right. We gotta head out
We
anyway.
gotta
But
we gotta dip anyway. That's right. Missy
we
Hyatt
listen.
next week.
Yes, I like that idea, and regardless if she's on or not, it'll be a great topic, especially coming off that dark side of the ring. But I will reach out to her and see if she can join us here next week. I can't promise things; I don't know her schedule, but I will ask. I promise you that. So, the Walking Riot, Missy Hyatt next week, all about her career, a legendary figure in the wrestling business. Definitely doesn't get the credit she deserves for being one of the trailblazers from back in the day. I'll tell you what, real quick, and we'll talk about it more next week on the show. I found it very interesting how she talked about how Vince McMahon tried to sleep with her or whatever, and then she got pushed after that. I'm surprised that didn't catch more headlines than it did. But we'll talk all about that and her career next week here on 80s Wrestling, the podcast. Jumpin' Jay, hope you have a great weekend with all your friends and family, and hopefully lots of customers out your way. Everyone, also, if you enjoy the show, I am live every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Local show out here in New Jersey, WTU, but you can watch it live, listen live streams on WTBQ.com. So if you head over on Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, WTBQ.com. It's called Let's Talk Wrestling. I host it live every Saturday morning. A lot of talk about my ISPW promotion and local promotions, but we also get into when there's big events, whether it be, WrestleMania or SummerSlam, or if a big news topic breaks, I'll talk about that. So it's a little bit of mixture of everything. Again, it's Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on WTBQ.com. We will check you out here next week when we talk all about Missy Hyatt on 80s Wrestling, the podcast.